Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back for another deck profile here. I'm actually doing it kind of early. I'm already a little sauce, which is fine. I know you guys love to see that, but this deck. I think it's arguably after testing with it, and I think it's not like a unanimous decision, but I think it's probably the best deck in the format. If not, then in the fucking upper part. I've been doing a lot of testing with this deck this week. This deck is not easy to play with. It's kind of just a very hard learning curve. It has a very high ceiling though, so it's kind of one of those decks that you have to put a lot of time in to get a big reward out of. So I put a bunch of time into this deck. I have added a couple things into it that I haven't seen anywhere. Hopefully you guys like it. I will show stuff. I will show a combo video at the end of this. It's a combo that I found out. I haven't seen it anywhere. So without further ado, dude, it's a virtual world. But it's got a Overdrive Teleporter. I'm not sure if people know what that card is. The card's super fucking old. That card's just... But we'll get right into it, guys. So this deck, I've had this core for a while. I think I've had it before Lulu's spiked, and I just never got around to it. And then it started winning all these events, and I was like, oh man, I need to look more into this. So I started playtesting with it, and I was like, oh, I see why. Because this deck's just it just doesn't stop. The choke points in this deck are Nibiru is a pretty big choke point to a certain extent. There is combos you can do to play around Nibiru. You can, if they think, when you do the Calamities play or whatever, they Nibiru you, there's still a way you can redo it with long, so, or Lao. Anyways, so without further ado, 3 Overdrive Teleporters. Now, this card, I'm not sure if you guys know what this card is. This card came out a long time ago, basically with the Dark Arm Dragon stuff, 2008. So this card is just a regular level 6 monster, psychic, light. So he has to be normal summoned. He can't be special summoned. But in this deck, obviously, all you do is keep slapping on special summon monsters. I know there's some combos where your hands you need the normal summon to do so, but this card actually helps that. What this card does is you pay 2,000 life points and special summon 2 level 3 psychics from your deck. That's really fucking good. So you guys can see where I'm going with this. I know a long time ago, I think in Monarch format, I think Patrick Hoban played this in that deck to make Beatrice, I think. But we're doing a lot more with that in this deck. And then 3 Lulus. Obviously this card's just, it's just, all the virtual world monsters have the same first effect almost. They target a virtual world card, whatever type it is, and then you send a different type than the one targeted. So if you target a spell, you would send a monster or a trap and then do its effect. So this one, it targets one, sends one of the other 2 types you didn't target, monster, spell, or trap, whatever you didn't target, sends one of those to graveyard and then adds the 3rd type from deck to hand. It's also a level 3 psychic tuner, so keep that in mind. Also, one thing I like about this deck too is a lot of it's wind, so it's easier to play around the barrier statue stuff that people play. So and then 3 Lao. I think this is my favorite one in the deck. This card is just ridiculous. He just targets one, just like Lulu does, sends the opposite, or sends one of the other 2 that wasn't targeted, and then he'll special one from graveyard in defense mode, a different virtual world monster. So he's also a tuner. So is Lulu, by the way. Those are the 2 tuners in the deck, except for Nian Yan, but that's the only one that's kind of different. And then 3 Kieran. This card, this is just a very good starter card. It targets one, and then instead of doing whatever, if it targets a spell, it sends a monster and trap to graveyard. One of them is optional. You don't have to do both sends. So. And then 3 Gigi. This one's really cool. This one's kind of like Skarm. So it targets one, obviously, sends one of the 3 that you didn't target, and then the end phase, you can add back a virtual world card from graveyard to hand. So card's kind of cool from graveyard. And then 3 Nian Yan. This is the one that's different than the other ones. So this one is a level 3 psychic as well, like I mentioned with Lulu. So this is, you can see where I'm going with that. But this one, if it's in the graveyard and you normal or special summon a level 3, it'll special summon itself back as a tuner. and it's not a tuner. And then when it leaves the field, it banishes itself. And then whenever this card's banished, it shuffles one of your banished cards back in the deck. So like even when you Desires, you can shuffle one of those back in. It doesn't have to be face up, doesn't target anything, it just does it. So card's insane. So this is a combo deck, but we actually have room for hand traps in this. Obviously 3 Nibiru's. This is like the best card that stops calamities for the most part. Sometimes, you know what I mean? But this deck can play around it, actually. And then just 3 of the 3 Lancia. I actually cut Droll because I needed space for consistency. I actually was playing more hand traps in this list than I was originally, and ended up cutting them down for more consistency because I would open like one of the level 6 virtual worlds with like nothing to activate to target to special summon it, and then a bunch of hand traps, and I would be going first, and it was just not that great. So I just stuck to the 6 that I think are the best right now. I think Droll is very good. Also, Gamma. Gamma's really insane in this deck too, but the curse came back and I started drawing Driver again, so I was just really tired of it because it would just be like when I won the die roll, I'd start with a 4-card hand, and it was just annoying. So I was just like, hey, see you later. So cut that, but it's an honorable mentions. And then for the spells, the 3 of the cities. So this card, I think this is one of the best cards in the deck. You just activate it, and then it plays a virtual gate from your deck to the board. It places it so it cannot be ashed. And then it has 3 other effects, depending on the number of virtual gates on the board. Currently, right now, there's only 2 gate cards that are released. So this card's really good. You can still stack into it. I've only resolved its was it the 3rd one once, and its 3rd effect is special summon up to 4 virtual world monsters with different names from your extra deck. So that's only happened once, and I was already winning that game, so it was kind of more win more in my opinion. But obviously that card's just ridiculous. So plus all these cards are searchable by Lulu, so you know. And then 3 of the Quinlong. This card's really insane. I want to mention a couple things about this that people don't think about. So what it does is you can activate it, and then it targets a face-up. You can target a face-up card your opponent controls, banish a virtual world card from your graveyard, negate it. So like if you're playing against Zoo, you can just kind of stop the Dryden or stop the Zeus for that turn. Very handy. And then its most important effect, you can banish it from graveyard to add a virtual world from deck to hand, and then discard a card. So the combo that I came across was you needed I know people were talking. I talked a little bit about this deck last week with the trap card and stuff, but you know, we'll get into that in a second with the traps. But 3 Desires, just for consistency. I mean, this card's fine. If you brick with 2 of these, you're gonna end up sending this to graveyard anyways. Banish, search one, even discard the other one, so it's not a huge deal. That 2 Foolish Burial Goods. This just sends that Quinlong to search. It's like a kind of a worse Rhoda in a sense, just because you have to discard a card, but you know, it is what it is. This card's very good for consistency. So, and then the 1 E-Telly, you know, it's fucking E-Telly, dude. It gets Lulu, it gets fucking Yan Yan. So, and then the 1 Upstart. I kept this deck to 40 cards. I really like how the 40 card list looked. I was playing I think 44 on Tuesday, and I kept like making it smaller and changing a couple things, and I just like the 40 card consistency. I know there's a bunch of hard ones for turn cards, but if you open a bunch of fucking virtual worlds, that's like the best hand you can have, so it's just completely fine. And that's what you want to see, to be honest. So and then 3 of the Chuchi. This is the infamous trap card that you get with the city. To get this, the card's ridiculous, dude. So this thing, you can, if you have 2 banished virtual world cards, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls, shuffle those 2 into the deck, and then destroy it. Or no, I'm sorry, targets a face-up card on the board, because you destroy your own calamities with this sometimes, which is why you usually make 2 calamities, or you make 1 calamities with this face-up. Then you detach from it, and if they imperm it, you can destroy it with this, so it still resolves through imperm. Also, you can banish this from graveyard to a target a virtual world monster, and either increase its level by 3 or decrease its level by 3. So, card's really insane. It's gotten me there quite a few times. So, and then one of these guys, the Shen Shen. This is the card probably most people know from this deck, other than Lulu. Just generic level 9. It's a walking macrocosmos. Anything that gets banished while this, or anything that goes to graveyard while this card's face up, gets banished instead. So sometimes, like, you don't even need to make the calamities. You still do, but you can have this like on the side, because it just keeps macrocosmosing everything. So like some decks just can't play through that at all. Plus this thing's 2,800. Yeah, this thing's huge. Also, whenever a virtual world attacks, you can target a banished card, one in either player's, doesn't matter, in the banished pile, and put it back in the graveyard. So, and then also one of the most important effects is, except for the turn it was sent to graveyard, you can banish 2 monsters with the same type and attribute, I believe, with different original types and attributes from each other to resummon this. So, card's ridiculous. I haven't really gotten that far a whole lot with the deck, because usually we just make double calamities and then they just lose. So it's, but it's always an insane follow-up. The Croc, everyone knows what this card is. Generic level 9. You can, when this card's summoned, you can draw cards equal to the number of non-tuners you use for this. Usually just draw 1, sometimes you draw 2. And then quick effect during either player's turn, he can discard 2 cards, I think, and it's pop a card on the board. Also, he gains 500 attack for each card in your hand. So, and then the old boy, dude, the infamous Cloud Castle, dude. So this card's really old. Also generic level 9. On Synchro Summon, it not a hard once per turn. You can make as many of these as you want, and I'll talk about that in the honorable mentions. But there's a reason for that, and it's important. But it just revives back a level 9, and then the turn you use this effect, you can't attack with level 8 or lower monsters. It's not really important. So, and then this was actually a last-minute test change. I kept having scenarios where I could make Trish with the combo that I'll show you. I don't use it in this combo. It's if you open 4 cards. This one's a 3-card combo for 2 calamities in the trap, which is just game. And then if you open the 4th card, you can make this as well. So it's also just a rip out of their hand, for 1. So, and then the Dragon Mech dude. This card's got seen some play. Generic level 9. Banish a tuner. Pop a card on the board. And then if this dies by opponent's battle or card effect, you can add back one of your banished tuners to your hand. So, and then everyone knows what Coral Dragon does. Once a turn, discard a card, pop a card on the field, and then if the Synchro Summon card leaves the board, you can draw a card. So, card's really good. And then Stardust Charge Warrior. So, this guy, he actually has multiple applications. He actually goes kind of hand in hand with this, which is the number 39 Utopia Beyond. So one thing I wanted to talk about was there's a thing with these two where if you go second, you can actually, it's way easier to make if you play the Overdrive Teleporter like I do, but I haven't seen anyone play that for some reason. I'm not sure why. This guy on summon, he makes all the special summon monster, or he makes all the monsters your opponent controls 0. And then Stardust Charge Warrior can attack each one of your opponent's special summon monsters once. But the thing that's cool about that is, like, you can Nibiru them and then put the token in attack mode and then kill them through it. So basically you wipe it's basically whatever damage through the token, and then you wipe the rest of their board, and it's just ridiculous. Also on summon, this draws a card. So. And then the 1M7, I'm actually a huge fan of this card. This card takes me back to the old days. You don't use its Constellar effect. It's like a Gaia Charger over top of a Constellar. But it's just 2 level 6s. You detach a material from this, and it either bounces a card on the board or returns a card from the graveyard to the hand. You need that in one of the combos with the Overdrive Teleporter. If you don't open too good, you have to summon the Teleporter, get the Lulu, the Nan Nan, and then make Charge Warrior overlay into this, and then detach to add the Lulu back to hand. It's kind of, it comes up sometimes, but it's not very, very often. So yeah, that one of the fans. This card, I've only summoned this a couple times. This card's really good though. 2+ level 6s, and then you can detach 2 from this, and it banishes a monster on your opponent's board and banishes one in their graveyard. It's really good. And then also, if this card dies by a battle card effect, you special summon you can special summon 2 virtual world monsters with the same type and attribute from your deck. So that's really good. I've never used that effect yet. So, and then the Gaia Charger. You use this sometimes. Actually, as funny as it is, you use it. The times you use it is usually for this, because you'll have two materials underneath the fan. You'll use both the materials for its effect to detach, so there's nothing underneath it. Banish a monster they have, banish one from their graveyard, and then you'll overlay the Gaia Charger over top of this, and then attack with it, and then you'll just make the make Zeus on top, because Zeus will have 2 materials to send everything on the board. So this card basically is there for the Zeus. Sometimes, obviously, this card comes up too for when you just want to push, but And then the Windbreak Sword. This card's actually really good. There's actually been a few times I made 2 Calamities with the Chuchi, the trap, and then made this, and then just passed. And then like whenever they try to just like set a monster or whatever, they know they have to deal with the Break Sword too. So the Break Sword would just detach on my turn, pop the trap, pop the monster, and then you just kill them for exactly 8,000, because it's 2 Calamities, it's 3,000, 3,000, then 2,000, 8,000. Unless you played Upstart, then you play more, and then you can just win anyways. And then the 2 Calamities, dude. Still super happy this card didn't get banned. It's fucking gone after this next ban list though, because this deck just plays 2 of it. So, that's something, dude. So, I'm gonna get into my honorable mentions real quick. Excuse me. Obviously, the Gamma package is an honorable mention in my opinion. If I just didn't draw Driver, it'd probably still be in the main deck. I just didn't like drawing Driver all the time. The Ghost Ogre is also an honorable mention. I was maining one of these, and I kept drawing it in really bad situations to make my hand bad. So I was just like, I'm taking this out. But the one thing I like to say about this is it's a level 3 Psychic, so you can summon it off of the Overdrive Teleporter, and it's one of the hand traps. I think it's the only hand trap that you can use on your board. So once they start playing like against dinosaurs or something, and they try to ultimate conductor you or whatever in the wrong area, and then you try and pop it and bait the miscellaneous or whatever. Also, one thing I wanted to specify with the Overdrive Teleporter is you don't need your normal summon in this deck at all. So that's like your normal summon. Sometimes you do if your hand's wonky, which happens, but if you're playing against like dinosaurs or something that's kind of bad for you, when they go to flip all your dudes down, you can just like once you get 2 level 9 synchros, they usually just book you. Like they Tyranno flip all your dudes face down. Then you can just tribute over top of one of the exceeds or one of the synchros with the teleporter, and then pay 2,000, summon 2 dudes, the Nan Yan and the Lulu, and then you can make the Cloud Castle to bring back the synchro you tributed, so you can still make Calamities. So it's just like, this card is just ridiculous, dude. I know it's kind of expensive right now. I think it's like $20 or something, but so this was an honorable mention. I don't play these. I took these out. I kept drawing this, and I never resolved it once, and I've been playing since Tuesday. So I took that out. I would definitely side deck it, though. And then the Monster Reborn, I just wanted to keep the list of 40 cards, so I cut this. Obviously, this card's insane. Great extender, great starter in some scenarios, but the one thing that kind of made me sad is like you couldn't like discard the Overdrive Teleporter for the Quinlong and then like reborn it, because it can't be special summoned. So that's why it's an honorable mention. And then the third one of these, I kept breaking on 2 of these. Honestly, 2 of these isn't bad, because then you can send the Quinlong and then banish the Quinlong to search, and then you can discard the second copy of this. But there was a few games I opened 3 of these, and my hand was just not great. And then the one thing I wanted to also honorable mention was the extra deck. So these are cards that didn't come in the mail, because the mail, as everyone knows, is just terrible right now. So these were my 2 other Cloud Castles. This is the Gotham's, the X-Saber Gotham's, because there's actually a hand loop where you can loop your opponent for 5 with this deck by making the, instead of doing the Calamities play, sometimes if your hand's that good, you can actually still end on Calamities after the hand loop, but with the 2 the Fortresses, these also rip a card, so, you know, it's just something like that. And then this guy, not very good, honorable mention. This card, I never summoned this, so I cut it. This card's good, though, so. And then one thing I want to talk about, too, was this was the Cicada King. This came up a few times, and there was just better plays to be made because there was already 2 Calamities on the board, or at least 1 Calamities, and I was like, you don't even need this, so. And then the one thing I want to talk about, too, was this, is the the Chronomaly, dude, so. I think the only number monster you play is the Utopia Beyond, but there's been some, I'm going to do more testing with this, but there's some games where, like, you'll use the Utopia Beyond, and then you'll, like, make a Gaia Charger, or just make Zeus on top of it if you don't kill your opponent, and then you can use his effect, make him, and then attach the Utopia Beyond, then send the Utopia Beyond to half your opponent's life points. It wasn't needed just because, 2 Calamities, it's just game. I just wanted to point this out. And then the 1 Beatrice, honorable mention, I only summoned it twice, and it was just to dump the Quinlong, which didn't really matter because it wasn't like insane, so I was just like, oh, but obviously Overdrive Teleporter uses it, so. Alright, so I'm going to show you a quick combo. The one thing I was super happy about anyways with this deck was the Overdrive Teleporter makes the combo 3 cards instead of 4, which is important. So this is your hand. This is what you need. I'm going to search through this giant pile while we do it. Alright, so I'm actually going to put my hand... Yeah, we'll just keep the hand down here. Can you see all of this, babe? But you can get close up on it. Yeah, you can come down on it if you want. Okay, so you just got this?
I got here to here.
That's perfect. You got up here too?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Alright, so all you do, this is your hand. You start by activating the city. The city will just directly activate the Chuchi from your deck. And then you reveal the Kieran. Target the Chuchi, special summon Kieran. And Kieran will dump the Quinlong and the one of the Nyan Nyans. Okay. So then here, you actually tribute this off for the Overdrive Teleporter, and you pay 2,000 life points, and you special summon the Nyan Nyan. These card names, dude, they're just duh. And then the Lulu, and then now this will trigger the Nyan Nyan in graveyard. This will come back since you summoned a level 3. It'll come back as a tuner, so I'll put the dice on that to represent that. And then here is where you make the this is where you use the Overdrive and the Lulu for the Croc. The Croc is actually important for this because you need a discard for the Quinlong. So he'll summon, since there was only 1 non-tuner used, you draw a card. So he'll summon, and then here is where you do the Quinlong. You'll banish the Quinlong, and you'll add to hand the Lao Lao, and then you have to discard a card for the Quinlong. So the card you added off the drew off the Croc is the card you discard. So, and then you'll use him to special summon, targeting. I actually don't. Oh, that's right. You target the monster. I actually don't remember if this matters. I just remember that this is the combo. And then he'll special summon back the Kieran. So I don't know if you can see all this, babe.
Not all of it.
Not all of it. Okay, so there's a Kieran, a Lao Lao, Nyan Nyan, the Croc, and then Nyan Nyan. This is the tuner. And then here is where you make the Kieran and the tuner Nyan Nyan into the old boy. This will make the what is it, the Shen Shen? Yeah, Shen Shen. Can you still see this, babe?
Yeah.
Okay. So now everything's macrocosmos. That doesn't matter though. And then here's where you overlay these two into your first calamities. And then use Calamity's effect. I like to just detach on your turn. Use Calamity's effect, and you can call light or whatever, just in case they have Nibiru, which they would have already probably played. So, just to get this in the graveyard. And then these two, since this is a tuner and this is not a tuner because it wasn't special back in the graveyard, these two make the Cloud Castle. And then the Cloud Castle will activate and summon back the Croc. And then these two make the second Calamities. And then this is your board, dude. So you got the 2 banish. The reason I didn't shuffle back with the Nyan Nyan is because I want 2 banish so I can pop a card with this. Otherwise, this would shuffle back a card from my banished deck. And then you have 2 Calamities. So their turn, stand by. You just attach. You want this in the graveyard always. I just didn't want this, doesn't matter how you do it. Just this has to stay in graveyard for next turn because it'll just come back and then that's another 28 beater and that's game. But so if this Calamities will resolve, unless they impermanent right here, then you can chain the Choo-Chi and destroy it, and it'll still resolve. Or you can just chain the other Calamities, and then if they have an out for this Calamities to negate as well, like Chalice or something, then you can just target this one or this one and destroy it, and then it'll still resolve. And then they can't attack or do anything. And then next turn, obviously, you have this, and that was only a 3-card combo, so you have 2 other cards in hand, so you might have more extenders. But yeah, dude. So I'm just really happy with this deck. I think this deck's absolutely outrageous. I hope you guys like my little innovative tech or whatever. But yeah, dude, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you want to see next week too. I got like I didn't want to do 2 zoo lists in a row. And this deck took a lot more time to learn than I thought it would. So I could do like the Tri-Brigade Zoo next week, or I know somebody mentioned they wanted Infernities. Infernities is one of my favorite decks of all time, so I can definitely do that. I have it max rarity. Yeah, dude, let me know what you want to see next week, and thanks for watching my video, guys. Cheers.